All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our last video recording lesson that we have to do. We are going to be finishing up religion today. So we have three religions left to cover, our three Abrahamic religions. Last time we talked about Hinduism, we talked about Buddhism, we talked about kind of the differences between a polytheistic, a monotheistic religion, so on and so forth. So getting things rolling here, we are starting today with Judaism. Judaism is going to be the oldest of our what we call a Southwest Asian religion. The followers are going to be called the Jews or the Jewish. It is the oldest monotheistic religion in the world. The basic laws and teachings of Judaism come from their holy book, which is called the Torah. The Torah is basically the Jewish version of the Quran in Islam, or the Bible in Christianity, right? So that's their holy book. And then the religious center of Judaism is the city of Jerusalem in Israel. So Judaism is the first of the three so-called Abrahamic religions, right? These three Abrahamic religions all have the same God. They use the same God. It is just in a different name in each religion. So we'll talk about that a little bit on this next slide here on the key beliefs, right? So faith in one God. They are a monotheistic religion, just like we just talked about, and they call their God Yahweh. Right, they call this God Yahweh. And within Judaism, there are these 13 articles of Jewish faith. And as I read through these 13 articles, you'll probably see some similarity between the ideas of the 13 articles of Jewish faith and kind of the key ideas of Christianity and Islam as well. So first things first, God exists. God exists. God is real. God is one and unique. Right? There's only one God. There's nothing like God. God is incorporeal. We can't describe what God looks like. We just know that God exists. God is eternal. God will never die. God has always been here. God is here now, and God will always be here. Prayer is to God only. Again, just another one that's saying that if you're going to pray and have a religion, it should be to this God. Moving on then, after they cover kind of the articles about the God, they talk about prophets. First off, the prophets of Judaism spoke the truth. None of them lied. None of them made up anything. They all spoke the truth. And of these prophets, the greatest one is Moses. Moses is the greatest of the prophets. Moses is kind of our key man in Judaism. The written and spoken Torah were given to Moses. The Torah, again, their holy book, was written and given to Moses, also spoken to him. And in conjunction with that one, there will never be another Torah. There's never going to be a Torah 2, anything like that. There will only be the one Torah. God knows the thoughts and deeds of men. God knows everything about you and everything that you're thinking and doing. And with that information, God will reward or punish you. God will reward the good and punish the wicked. The Messiah will come one day, and when the Messiah comes, the dead will be resurrected. So again, a lot of this stuff is very similar to Islam and Christianity. They are all the same God, just different names, and they all have different key men. Our key man here is going to be Moses. We'll talk about the key men for Islam and Christianity when we get to them, but our key guy here is, of course, Moses. Now, one of the biggest discrepancies, or not really discrepancies, but differences that we see in Judaism and Islam compared to Christianity is this idea of a Messiah. The Messiah in Christianity is Jesus. Jesus Christ is the Messiah, the Son of God, the Savior, whereas in Judaism and Islam, Jesus does exist, but Jesus is simply a prophet, and this Messiah has not come yet. We'll talk about why they don't believe that the Messiah has come yet, I believe, with Islam. So Jewish holidays, first off, we've got Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. On that day, you're going to see festive meals and a day spent in prayer and meditation. The next one we got is Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the one with the menorah. That's our middle picture over there. And it celebrates the liberation from oppression, right? Freedom of worship and finding light in the darkest of times. This is the one that happens around Christmas time. And our last Jewish holiday is Passover, and it's the festival of freedom that marks the Hebrew exodus from Egypt. There was a time when the Jewish were slaves in Egypt, and Passover kind of celebrates the freedom of slavery from Egypt. So that wraps up Judaism, our key beliefs, history, background of Judaism, and then our holidays there. Moving on now to Islam, our second Abrahamic religion. This one also originates in Southwest Asia, more in the Middle East for this one, and it's based on the teachings of Muhammad. The followers of Islam are going to be called Muslims. In Islam, God is called Allah, like how God was called Yahweh in Judaism, and God is called, well, God in Christianity. God is going to be Allah here. And their holy book, again, comparing this to the Torah or the Bible, is called the Quran. Some pictures we've got on here. The top picture is the Black Rock. That is in Mecca, and they will go, it's a pilgrimage item to go pray at the Black Rock. And down below, you actually do see that what Muslim prayer does look like. So key beliefs are the 5 pillars, and the 5 pillars are how to live your life. The first pillar is declaring one's belief in God and the prophetic role of Muhammad. Muhammad, again, is our key man here. Muhammad breaks away from Judaism and becomes kind of our key man. He writes the Quran. It's the teachings of Muhammad, and Muhammad is our key prophet. Pray 5 times every day, once at dawn, once at noon, once in the afternoon, once at sunset, and once in the evening. They follow that prayer system very religiously. They follow it pretty strictly as well. Give charity to those in need. Help those in need. Fasting from food, water, and other bodily pleasures during daylight hours in the month of Ramadan. So for an entire month during the day, they will not eat, drink, or really do mostly eat and drink during the month of Ramadan. And then your last pillar is making a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in your lifetime. And again, Mecca was where the Black Rock is located, which is the picture you just saw. Islam or Muslim holidays. First off, again, we have Ramadan. Ramadan is in the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. Muslims will fast from sun up to sun down to gain compassion and deepen their faith. So at night and in the morning for the sun's up, they are allowed to eat and drink, but the entire time when the sun is out, they're not going to eat and drink. They will fast. And the second one we've got is Eid al-Fitr. This marks the end of Ramadan. It's going to be celebrated with acts of charity, or what we call zakat, and festive meals throughout the day. So we have Ramadan, which is an entire month of fasting, and then Eid al-Fitr, which is the end of Ramadan. So moving on to our last Abrahamic religion, which is Christianity. And Christianity is going to evolve from the teachings of Judaism. It's again an offshoot of Judaism, similar to Islam. Again, we are monotheistic. In this religion, God is God, and it's based on the teachings of Jesus Christ. It is the largest religion in the world in terms of numbers of believers. Now, Christianity, our 10 commandments are our key beliefs here. And they all start with a vow. You shall not have other gods. Again, only having one God, not making idols. We cannot, again, God is incorporeal. We can't create an image of God. You shall not take the name of the Lord in vain, right? Saying the name of the Lord for negative purposes. Keeping the Sabbath day holy, that's Sunday, keeping as a day of prayer. Honoring your mother and father, treat your parents with respect. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not bear false witness against your neighbor, and do not covet. Now let's talk about those 5 real quick. First off, murder is murder. We should know what murder is. Adultery, you could go ahead and Google that one on your own time outside of class. Not stealing, again, we know not to steal. Bearing false witness against your neighbor, don't blame somebody for something they didn't do. And then not to covet. Do not want anything that's not yours. Don't be jealous or envious of people for having things that you don't have. Our holidays are Christmas, the celebration of the birth of Jesus, Easter Sunday, which celebrates Jesus' resurrection from crucifixion, and then Palm Sunday, which begins the Holy Week and commemorated Jesus' entry into Jerusalem. So this is just a map that kind of shows where all the religions are. Again, there are offshoots of even these major religions, right? In terms of Christianity, we've got Roman Catholic, we've got Protestant, we've got Eastern Orthodox, we have Sunni and Shia Muslims, so on and so forth. So even breaking down even further from our main religions, our main five, we could break it down even further into specifics that specific groups, specific organizations agree with and disagree with. So that this map just kind of shows you how many religions there are around the world, just branching off of these first five. So that should wrap up your notes for this unit 4. With the rest of the time today, make sure you're finishing up your religion projects. Make sure you are working on that review. Again, your review, as usual, is going to be worth 2 points of extra credit, and getting ready to rock for that test tomorrow. Best of luck to all of you, and I will see you on Monday.